You're listening to the Warlord Radio Podcast.
Welcome back. So we're doing a special Carrek and Craig episode of Warlord Radio.
We haven't done one of these in a while. It's been like 20 episodes, right?
Well, it was last year's year-end Roundup.
Oh, yeah, no, and we're about at that level.
Yeah. So since there's a couple of weeks when we end up releasing the episode and when it comes out, and this is right before Thanksgiving, so this is kind of the year-end Roundup in that.
Can I also say, like, straight up, I fucking hate Thanksgiving. Dude, every year for like the last 5 years, what I do on Thanksgiving is I eat turkey sandwiches at home and I watch wrestling.
Yes.
And I just fuck all of Thanksgiving. I don't like the food. I don't like the company. Like, I fucking hate it.
So I want to talk about wrestling here in just a second. Thanksgiving isn't my favorite by a long stretch.
The food sucks, right? It just sucks.
I don't hate it. You know, it's like I'm cool with the holiday for whatever reason. The shady implications behind Thanksgiving aside, it's kind of like whatever.
There are shady implications besides every American tradition.
But the thing that drives me crazier even more than Thanksgiving is the idea of like even before Halloween is over is let's do 2.5 months of Christmas prep. And I'm just like, dude, no. Dude, like, I can't handle that.
I don't know how you feel about Christmas, but I can't stand it. Like, as soon as Halloween is over, because, like, I like to go to the Halloween, like, even Walmart and shit.
Yeah.
I like to go and, like, pick the Halloween shit, because it's all on clearance.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how, like, I decorate the house.
The day after is, like, Halloween when everything's on sale. That's, like, Black Friday for fucking, like, spooky kids, you know?
But then, yeah, exactly. But then, like, okay, so before, like, you assholes even eat the turkey, I have to hear fucking All I Want for Christmas Is You at a department store, you sons of bitches. Like, why? Why the fuck do I have to hear that shitty Mariah Carey song every year?
Oh, yeah. And sometimes it's even before Halloween that you'll see Christmas shit up, and it's like, give it a fucking rest. Like, I get it. Like, you guys are trying to make your money, whatever. But let's just do one holiday at a time. Let's enjoy Halloween. And then let's do Thanksgiving, and then do the fucking Christmas thing.
And don't get me wrong. Like I said, Thanksgiving sucks. But can we just both agree that Christmas sucks so much more? Like, they have better movies. I'll give them that. Right. There's a couple of good Christmas movies out there that I really fucking love.
You know, the thing that Thanksgiving is missing is a great horror movie.
That's true.
Christmas has Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Santa's Sleigh, starring Bill Goldberg.
Yes. Halloween obviously has got a bunch, but there's no classic Thanksgiving horror movie, and I feel like that is a serious detriment to the holiday. So someone needs to
no, because if you actually like that sounds like a silly statement, but if you go back throughout the entire year, there is a legit like slasher movie at least for whatever holiday you're trying to celebrate. Yeah. Like even what was that one? My Bloody Valentine.
My Bloody Valentine, Valentine's Day. New Year's has Terror Train, which takes place on New Year's Eve in a classic Jamie Lee Curtis movie, and it also has New Year's Evil, which is just cheesy fun, but it's got a couple of solid New Year's themed. Silent Night, Deadly Night.
4th of July, Saving Private Ryan, which should be fucking real.
Yeah. There's also Uncle Sam, which is not that it's a great movie, but it's pretty funny because it's literally about like a zombie Uncle Sam.
Like for real?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that shit.
I'm trying to think what else. My Bloody Valentine, obviously.
Just like every major holiday has like its horror movie except for Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving has tried. Even there was, I think, a Killer Bong Turkey Day.
Yeah, there was like Thanksgiving that had like a great title, but you know it's kind of like Trauma-esque. Wasn't that great? Not that there's anything wrong with Trauma, but it wasn't up to the caliber of like.
Oh, we'll talk to Trauma in a minute because they just made a huge fucking announcement that I'm excited as shit about.
Oh yeah.
But The problem with Thanksgiving is maybe they didn't do a horror movie because how horrible the holiday is in the first place. Like, it's essentially like, yay, it's Genocide Day.
Right.
I would actually argue that the best Thanksgiving horror movie is Addams Family.
Addams Family, yeah.
That whole speech with Wednesday and the Camp Chippewa or whatever the fuck it was called. Like,
that's probably a solid one. I think that was the second one, right?
Addams Family Values.
Yeah. They're both great.
And that's, can we be real? That was literally the only movie that Joan Cusack was super foxy in.
Yeah.
She's been in a lot of movies, man. That was the only one where I was just like, yeah, me and Joan Cusack, I can do that.
You'd be like, I'd be Uncle Fester.
But like that whole for anybody like our generation, like how old are you, bud?
Nah, old.
Fuck off.
Nah, old.
Oh no, we're gonna talk shit about every promoter we've ever bought. Like, fucking give me a number.
44.
40? Fucking really?
Yeah.
Okay, guys out there, I want you to know that Craig is super hot for 44. I am 34. But anybody in our generation remembers that Wednesday Addams speech from Addams Family Values, where she's like, our people sell beads on the side of the highway, and like it's like all this fucking crazy shit. Mm-hmm. But like, there have been so many that have tried. Mm-hmm. But that Addams Family Values speech just like speaks volumes, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that just sticks with you forever.
Oh yeah, they're great movies. I love them. They're classics. I think you're probably right. That's at least the best example I can think of off the top of my head of like a good, legit, like Thanksgiving-centered movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, somebody needs to get on that.
Somebody does need to get on that. We need a good Thanksgiving-themed horror movie.
Yeah.
And let's be real, probably with a bunch of natives just slaughtering pilgrims.
All right. or like slasher pilgrims or something like that.
Man, that would be so sick though. Slasher pilgrims, holy fuck, that would be good.
Yeah.
Just like the buckle on my hat means death English.
That's right. That'd be great. That'd be great. Like slaying the sinners out there, like some fucking Michael Myers like pilgrim.
That'd be great. That would be so good. Could you imagine just Thanksgiving?
Yes.
This Thanksgiving.
Well, there was the one great trailer that Eli Roth did in the the Grindhouse movie that was like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's like where it was like a double feature, and it had the Robert Rodriguez movie and the Quentin Tarantino movie, and then in between they had all the fake trailers like Rob Zombie's Werewolf Women at the SS and stuff. And then
that was where fucking Machete and Space came from, and then like, holy shit, you're like, I really want to see
that. Yeah. He had one for Thanksgiving that was like a Thanksgiving themed slasher movie. Yeah. And I thought that they were going to turn that into a movie for a while, kind of like they did like Machete, but nothing came of it. But
it's so weird how that happens though. Like, how many times have you seen a fake trailer for a horror movie and you're like, I would totally watch that, and then it just never happens?
Yeah.
I thought Death Proof was fake.
Oh yeah.
Until I actually
until you watched it.
Yeah. And like, I'm not gonna lie, like I fucking love Death Proof. Like Death Proof is so good.
Yeah.
But I mean, like all those Grindhouse movies that came out in the beginning, like, because they did. What was the first one they did?
I can't remember the order because it's been a minute, but I know that there was the ones we talked about, and then there was one called Don't, where they just repeated like Don't, and I think that was what's his name that did Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright.
Yeah, I think he did that one.
Did you ever see what was the last one they did? Not the end of the world, but
I saw that one.
So
That's where they go drink at the pubs and exactly. That was cool.
But so like Edgar Wright did that entire Ice Cream and Blood.
Oh, the trilogy.
Like so right. Like Shaun of the Dead introduced you to a completely relatable concept, just zombies. Like I can deal with zombies. And then after that one was over, they did Hot Fuzz. And Hot Fuzz I think to a lot of people, like, you had to watch Hot Fuzz a couple of times before you actually got it.
I thought it was killer, but...
No, the first time I watched it, I was like, this is good. But the second time I watched it, I was like, no, this is genius.
Yeah.
And then right after that one, they did at World's End. That was the name of it.
Yeah.
And
that was hilarious, I thought.
Oh man, it was so good. But I mean, like, so the first movie, they take this concept that everybody can relate to of like zombies. Mm-hmm. Like everybody knows how a zombie attack works.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job. And then they take Hot Fuzz, and Hot Fuzz goes in a whole different direction where it's like, it's sort of a cop drama, but it's also sort of like an occult drama. Like it's almost kind of Wicker Man-esque in its execution, but it's so good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like all the action sequences are legit. Like all of the dialogue is so great. And then they do it World's End, and when you're first watching World's End, you're like, this is really strange. Mm-hmm. And then, like, you know, all the robots and shit come out, and you're like, oh no, this is exactly what it needs to be. Yeah. And those first, like, the first, like, 3 scenes at World's End just kill it. Like, you know, like there's the guy that's got, like, you know, the whole painful backstory about not being able to drink, and there's the one guy that just can't, like, let go of the past, and there's all these different dynamics, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, robots are gonna fist fuck you in your face. And they just go for that for 2 hours. It was just, I don't know, man. Yeah. I feel like sometimes those Blood and Ice Cream movies do not get enough credit for how fucking good they are.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I like about them is that they're kind of British and that they have that dry sense of humor.
Super. And that's completely illustrated in Shaun of the Dead. The whole, like, you know, we go to the Winchester until everything blows over.
Yeah.
Like
or kill the Queen when the jukebox is playing. But yeah, and I mean, look, they've got like big fan bases and stuff like that. But you're totally right. It's not like mainstream, and they did, you know, they're certainly good enough to be, but they're just kind of like quirky enough to kind of escape that. Where, like, you're right. It's like sometimes you have to pay attention and watch something twice to really get it, and. You know, well, if you love watching movies, that's a plus. But if you're just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to put on something and watch it and kind of pay attention and kind of be on my phone, well, then you're going to kind of miss what's going on.
It's just what they did is they followed the proper tropes so closely, and then like took liberties with the other aspects of storytelling.
Well, I can tell you the first time I saw Shaun of the Dead, I knew I would like it. Before the movie even started, because like right as they do like the opening credits and before it kind of like fades into, like, you see like Simon Pegg, you know, working in the store or whatever, they use a little audio sample from the original Dawn of the Dead. And I'm such a horror nerd that I immediatly picked it up.
I knew you would.
And I was like, fuck yeah, this is going to be cool. Yeah. Like, I'm like, if you're referencing, like, Romero's Dawn of the Dead, I'm like, there's an excellent chance that this is going to be awesome.
There's even the point where the one guy, the boyfriend, I can't remember his name, but, like, they do the almost shot for shot Dawn of the Dead where they grab him through the window and then tear his torso apart, and you're the whole time, like, any horror nerd is watching that, they're just like, this is everything. Like, they pulled the ribs right, like they did everything perfectly. And then, like, did you ever watch Spaced?
Yes, I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw a couple episodes kind of after the fact, when I knew that those guys that had done Shaun of the Dead did it.
It's when you watch Spaced, you understand, like, why those fucking horror movies they did were so good.
Yeah.
And it's because they, first off, they paid such fan service. And then, like, second off, it was just like, the story was legitimate. Like, it wasn't contrived, it wasn't weird, it was like, it all made sense within the lexicon of, like, the universe that they were building. But the fucking dude, the Blood and Ice Cream movies are so goddamn good.
There's a funny...
They're the Tenacious D of horror movies. Like, they're so fucking good.
Yeah, I agree. There was actually... so the two guys, Simon Pegg and I forget...
Nick Frost.
And
then there's Edgar Wright.
they were zombies in Romero's Land of the Dead.
Land of the Dead, the ones that were chained to the wall, yeah.
And I remember watching like a little behind the things where like they were there because he liked Shaun of the Dead. And they get all made up and make up. They're like, this is so cool. And then they came up and he gave them direction.
Yep.
And they were just like, boom, childhood fulfilled. And I would be the same way.
I would be like, if George A. Romero came up to Warlord podcast tomorrow and was like, I need you to be zombies. We're like, we got this. We so got this, man. Like,
well, he's dead now, but yes.
He is, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
you know what I mean?
I totally, like, yeah, like I got to meet him once at Frightmare. Like just like I paid in line to get an autograph, and he signed my Dawn of the Dead for me, and he was just super cool. And I was just like, I mean, I was awestruck the way that someone that's like way into sports would be with like like whoever your favorite.
Like that kid. There's that old commercial where the kid's drinking a Coke. Yeah. And like Reggie White throws in his towel. That's you with George Romero.
Yeah, right? I was just like, you could have told me to go fuck myself. I'd be like, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. This is amazing. Well, it was the time I met Billy Idol in an airport one time, and I walked up behind him and I was like, I think that guy's Billy Idol. And I was like, hey, Billy Idol. And he turned around. He was like, fuck you. And I was like, that's Billy Idol.
That's great. So what was the news that Trauma had?
So Trauma is putting out Terra Firma on Blu-ray this week.
Awesome.
And I don't know how many Warlords out there have actually seen Terra Firma.
But go check it out.
Terra Firma is one of those movies that like shaped who I am as a human.
That's great. It's definitely one of the better Trauma movies. It's up there with like Toxic Avenger and another favorite of mine, Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet.
Just because it's
amazing.
crazy.
And Sergeant Kabuki Man.
Sergeant Kabuki Man, yeah.
But like, the fuck, dude, Terra Firma is so gnarly. Like, Terra Firma is Sleepaway Camp meets Toxic Avenger meets like, I don't know, Night of the Demons.
Yeah, with Lenny in it.
Yeah, with Lenny. Yeah, exactly. But it, like, the first time I ever saw Terra Firma, it was the most brutal shit I'd ever seen in my life. Yeah. Like, I was 15, maybe. Yeah. And I read the comics, which were equally as brutal, and then actually watched like that shit come alive on screen, and it was just like, I don't know how to explain Toxic Avenger and Terra Firma because they were so shocking at the time. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like in that one scene in the Toxic Avenger where he kills everybody in the gym.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck is happening right now? This is insane. Yeah. Like he drops the weight bench on that dude's head and his head just fucking explodes, and it's like, I've never seen this on screen.
There wasn't shit like that around when that came out, and even for like several years after they came out, where it was just like, it was just Trauma doing that kind of crazy splatter
keep
comedy.
In mind, dude, like when we were kids, I don't know how Lloyd Kaufman did this, but he talked like ABC into doing a Toxic Avenger kids show.
Yeah, it was
like
awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great. But like, I watched that whole show and then watched the Toxic Avenger like as that kid that watched the cartoon show, and I was like, wait, what? What the fuck, man? This is crazy. Also, the blind girl had just immaculate boobs. I'm sorry, she really did.
No, that's another thing. They knew their audience.
They really did.
You know, they knew it was impressionable kids like us. It was just like, what?
I will say, top 10 wrecks I've seen in my life. Like that. What was it? That was Toxic 2.
I think so.
Okay.
I forget exactly how many there were. I know there's at least 3. There might have been more. I saw through 3. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. No, I've seen all of them, but like, and I've seen a lot of boobs.
Yes.
I'm not like diminishing that. I have seen a lot of boobs, but man, fucking Toxic 2. That lady, the blind lady's boobs. It was like, they stopped you dead in your tracks. You're just like, what the fuck, man? Like, I don't even know what to watch after this.
Right.
Until I saw, what was it, Wrong Turn 2?
Yeah.
That lady's boobs are pretty great too.
I always thought that the nurse that bites it in Halloween 2, the one that gets her face shoved into the hot tub, I was just like still in the top like. Top boobs for chicks in horror movies. She's up there.
Like you can't be a true horror movie fan without acknowledging like the truly stellar boobs that were in most of those movies.
Yes.
Honestly, Jason Goes to Space.
Yeah.
The redheaded chick in the sleeping bag scene.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what the fuck do you even do with the pair of boobs like that?
Yeah. And another one I always thought that was just unspeakably hot was, again, the nurse from American Werewolf in London.
Oh, dude. Yeah,
I think Ginny Gutter, I think.
I hope that's her name, but like, if we're getting that wrong, I apologize.
Yeah,
but like,
either way,
shout out to you, honey.
Yeah, just gorgeous. I was just like,
American
blew my little mind.
That was one of those movies that just like fucked me up forever.
I still like one of my all-time favorite movies. Like I think it's just fucking brilliant. Like,
and then what's the one? There's a Jason movie, the first scene where he kills the girl with the harpoon.
Well, he kills a girl with a harpoon in 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's 3. They're on the houseboat, and like, I would like to talk about the fact for a moment that we were going like pre-fake boobs.
Right.
We were going pre like any plastic surgeon in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's just like she just had a stellar pair of fucking goers.
Yeah.
And like it was like. Because I remember he jacks the guy up with the harpoon, but like 9-year-old Carrek is just like, that is a legit pair of
But then again, it's like the Friday movies, it's like they knew their audience.
They really did.
I'm glad that they did. It's great, It's like you look back fondly on that stuff now. And what's funny is that, like the Friday 13 movies, is they seem so innocent now.
Now, yeah.
But at the time, and it's hard to quantify to someone that grows up now. I'm sure just in the same way that when we were kids, like black and white movies were like, all right. But it's like then it seemed so crazy and out there. Like you'd have to sneak away from your parents to catch a view of what's going on, and you might see some
and
nipple.
Like a side boob was enough.
Yeah,
if it was a good enough.
So to get
boob.
like a full on just like naked female torso and then see some guy in a hockey match chasing
you want to know what really made an impact on me, as long as we're still talking about boobs here on Warlord Radio?
Right.
13 Ghosts.
Oh yeah.
The Bride.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, man? Like, that was a serious pair of boobs on that.
That's actually like a really good movie.
No, it's a fantastic movie, and like, if you have not had the opportunity to like grab a DVD copy of that, and like, because on the DVD copy and the extras, they have like how all 13 ghosts came to be, and it's one of the most legit special features I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they do the lady with the cage on her head, and the fucking guy with all the fucking railroad rivets in him, and it's just like the storylines behind each ghost are so legit.
Well, and it's cool that each one has storylines.
Yeah.
It's like a full, mythology for each one. And it's like, oh, that's awesome,
Yeah, no, in 13 Ghosts, they gave you this entire, like, pantheon of fucking monsters, and then gave you, like, the lore behind that pantheon. It's so good.
Yeah.
And like, as good as that movie is, because it is very good, and quite frankly, let's be real, if Tony Shalhoub is in it, fucking watch it.
Shout out to Tony Shalhoub.
Shout out to Tony Shalhoub. But like, the DVD, that was one of those few things, like, the DVD extras were as good as the movie, if not better. What I mean? Like, they added an extra depth. Like,
that's another thing that I miss is and it's not that they're totally gone, but it's not like it used to be. Is the DVD extras?
Oh man!
Like I love buying. I'm a fan of what I like.
Copy.
So I like a hard copy, and I love it when you get extras.
Yeah.
Like behind the scenes or deleted scenes or commentary or whatever they want to throw in there. I love to check that stuff out. And it bums me out that, you know, with newer releases, it's like typically they're just like, here's the movie and here's the digital copy.
Do you remember, like the first real movie that I remember being like a huge fucking deal on DVD was The Matrix.
Yeah.
Because like the Matrix was obviously an excellent movie, but then they gave you like all this extra crap, like following the White Rabbit, and you know what I mean. And it was like
they did the bullet time cam and all that shit. Yeah.
And it was stunning. You know what I mean? Like it absolutely added to the artwork that was that first Matrix movie. And then, like, somewhere along the way, you just, like, hey, this is what Jennifer Aniston's ass looked like in webcam. Like, it was really weird.
Yeah.
So, I guess what my point is Hollywood, like, step your game up.
Right.
I don't love it, but I gotta do what I gotta do for money.
Right. Anyway, you can find it on his premium Snapchat.
Yeah, you can. That with multiple pictures of my butthole.
Yeah. It's worth the yearly subscription.
Dude, can I talk about that for a minute, though? Like, okay, so, I don't know if you warlords out there know, but, like, I am recently single, and shit has been bizarre. Like, it's been so fucking weird, man. To the point where, like, they're just like, are you gonna pay for my premium Snapchat? And I'm like, are you gonna pay for my fucking Subway sandwich? Because I don't think so. Like, I can look at boobs if I need to.
Right.
Not to disparage anybody that's on your premium Snapchat, like, good for you, but, like, for me personally, I'm just not doing it. I'm sorry.
It's just not a thing I get, but, you know, it's whatever.
I get it, but, like, man.
No, I get them doing it and trying to hustle. Yeah, right on. But what I'm saying is I don't get paying for that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, it's, like, I'm sorry, but Pornhub's a thing. I'm sorry, it just is. Like, no, man, it's been weird. But that's not what we were talking about. What we were talking about was classic horror movies. Yeah. And
so let me switch gears. I want to talk wrestling for just a second.
All right.
I had seen it before, but I recently rewatched The Wrestler.
Oh man, the Mickey Rourke flick.
Yes.
Really fucking good.
And two things. One is I love Mickey Rourke anyway, but he fucking
he crushes it in that movie.
He is 1,000% believable.
Yeah.
In that. Like
you believe that he is Randy the Ram. Yeah. Like you fucking, and like there's no question about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like some of the stuff that they do is just like real impressive. Like when there's that one fight with all the barbed wire and the staples.
Okay. I have talked about this guy on this show before, but Necro Butcher. Yeah. Necro Butcher is the guy that's in that scene with him. The kind of bearded balding dude. Kind of looks like our buddy Britt Manson.
All right.
Let's be real, but that was the guy when we were talking with Randall on the last episode. The New Jack picked up a chain at one point, and Necro Butcher, the guy that beat the fuck out of Mickey Rourke in that movie, was the dude that was like, "You're not hitting me with that fucking thing." And I have watched Necro Butcher take some of the nastiest spills I've ever seen in my life. I watched it. Any wrestling fan out there knows who Samoa Joe is, right? Yeah. Samoa Joe is a legend on the pro scenes. He's a legend on the indie scenes. Like, he's just always been around. I watched Samoa Joe dump Necro Butcher on his head off the fucking apron. Like splat on his forehead and knock Necro Butcher the fuck out.
Yeah.
And, like you look at Samoa Joe is one of those wrestlers where you look at that guy and you're like, that guy can legitimately beat somebody's ass. Like, this is not a shoot. This is not just pro wrestling. Like, Samoa Joe could wreck you if he felt like it.
Yeah.
And that was one of those matches where he absolutely did. But Necro Butcher has been a mainstay on the deathmatch scene since I was a kid. Like, he's the guy that takes all the light bulbs and all the staple guns and just all the most crazy shit you've ever seen.
I love behind the scenes stuff, and I really, in that movie in particular, like I loved how like you would see the guys talk about the match before,
like
and
work my head a little bit. Don't work my shoulder. My shoulder's fucked up. Don't work my shoulder.
And this one, he's like, "Are you okay with staples?" And you see, like, Mickey Rourke look at him. And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, a staple gun." And he's like, "Does it hurt?" He's like, "It's not too bad going in, but it's pulling him out."
Which I have said on this podcast.
Yeah. And then you see him like after the set where there's like the doc there in the room like pulling out like 30 staples out of him.
I have been in. Okay, there's that scene in The Wrestler where Mickey Rourke is sitting in the fucking folding chair.
Yeah.
And the doctor's pulling all that random crap out of him. I have been that dude.
Yeah.
I have literally sat there and had a dude pull like fucking 30 thumbtacks out of my back.
Yeah.
And again, like just like they say in the movie, like they don't hurt going in, they really hurt coming out.
Yeah, I think I would imagine, but I don't know. I'd imagine that it's the adrenaline when you're doing it, kind of masks it, and then after the fact when it starts to wear off, and then they're pulling shit out, it's like, oh, that hurts.
It's not just that. It's like say you get a staple gun, like it's never just one, like it's like 5.
Right.
And if you land on thumbtacks, it's never 1, it's like 30.
Yeah.
And like I legit remember sitting in the back locker room of an XCW match, like getting like 30 thumbtacks pulled out of my shoulder, and man, you feel every fucking one. That movie is so accurate.
Yeah.
And what I love about Darren Aronofsky is he is really good at like just ruining children's like fantasies.
Right.
Like, I want to be a ballerina. Okay, here's Black Swan.
Yeah, right.
I want to be a wrestler. Okay, here's the wrestler. Like,
so I heard that the inspiration for the movie was Darren Aronofsky seeing the movie or the documentary Beyond the Mat.
Okay, Beyond the Mat, which I think I've talked about on this podcast, but Beyond the Mat was one of the first documentaries that really like broke kayfabe.
Yeah.
Which we talked about. Kayfabe is the fantasy side of wrestling.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of where fantasy meets the actual reality of the business.
Right.
And there is, Beyond the Mat has Mick Foley, who I have talked about on this podcast and is a bad motherfucker, and Terry Funk, who is an even badder motherfucker. Mm-hmm. But Beyond the Mat, what Beyond the Mat really was good at was kind of like pulling that curtain back and showing you how the shit really was. Because we've talked about this on the podcast. There was I want to say SummerSlam, I don't know for sure, but where The Rock, who is arguably the most successful professional wrestler that has ever lived since Hulk Hogan, right? Right. In terms of like, he had a huge wrestling career, and then beyond that made a huge career for himself. Yeah. But one of the things that put The Rock over is there was a match. It was an I Quit match. I want to say SummerSlam. I don't know for sure. But he hit Mick Foley in the head with a chair like 32 times. Jesus. And it was not like tap. Yeah. Tap. It was like he fucking hauled off and just like smoked this guy.
Yeah, and he's a huge dude, so him putting weight behind it is
he
like...
is 6'7", 287 pounds.
Of cut muscle.
Of cut muscle. Yeah. Mick Foley is 6'1", 280 pounds of like less cut muscle.
Yeah,
we'll say.
But still a monster. He's still a monster.
Yeah. But there is a reason that like throughout all wrestling lore and history, Mick Foley is respected. Yeah. And it is because Mick Foley took gnarlier hits than anybody else. You've seen this, because I know I've shown you this, but you've seen the footage of The Undertaker choke slamming Mankind through the top of that fucking cell. Yeah. And we're talking, what, a 15-foot drop?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Easy. Yeah. And not only does he get up from the 50-foot drop, he takes another bump outside on a fucking table. Right. And shit, like, it's fucking insane. Like, I don't know. There were matches in the Attitude Era that really solidified, like, why you don't just say pro wrestling is fake. Right. Mostly because you can't fake gravity. Yeah. And we talked about Joey Janela and Glenn Zandig. Mm-hmm. from CZW where they took a bump off of the top of a warehouse into the back of a truck that was full of barbed wire and light bulbs.
It's fucking nuts, dude.
And my favorite part of that story is Joey Janela's like, I hit the bottom of that truck and I thought that I would smash through all the light bulbs and the barbed wire, but that's not what happened. What happens is I went through all of it, hit the bottom of the truck, and then all the barbed wires and glass bounced up and then came back down on me. And I'm just like, that's so bad. And Glenn Zandig is sitting there just like, my back's broken.
Yeah.
And like, what do you do with that? Like, my back's broken, I can't move. Like, I can't move my feet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like...
That's just got to be beyond terrifying. I mean, luckily, like, they were able to fix it. I mean, he's not paralyzed.
He's not paralyzed. He is still around. He doesn't wrestle much anymore. But, like, we talk about these stunts, and we talk about wrestling surprisingly a lot on this show. But, like... Again, the one thing you can't fake is gravity.
Yeah.
And when somebody dumps you on your head from 20 feet up in the air, like, they dumped you on your head from 20 feet up in the air. That's not a stunt.
Well, even the hits. I mean, it's like, I know that they're not hitting in the same way that, like, MMA is hitting. But if a 280-pound dude is, like, open-handed slapping you with effort behind it, that's gonna leave a fucking mark.
Yeah, it is.
Like, you know, like
I told those chest slaps that everybody loves and run. That shit hurts so bad, man. It's like it's pow, and you're just like, fuck, man. I got hit in the chest by a guy named King Mo. Shout out to King Mo.
King Mo
from Sword Wrestling. He was a legend back in the day. He used to be King Mabel's tag team partner. But that dude has the biggest hand I've ever seen in my life. And when he hit me across the chest, and you know this about me, I am a fairly hairy guy, Warlords. Like, I have some padding there. But that guy slapped hair off my chest. Like, it was just a handprint. Like, there was nothing left. And I don't like. There's a lot of people like I don't know how you deal with that, but like those chest slaps, they hurt so bad. Getting dumped on your head hurts bad. Like, and then when you watch somebody go after somebody in wrestling, where like they hit them 10 times, right? You'll watch it 5 times. Those are fake hits,
right? But
5 times they're not.
Yeah.
So that they can really sell it.
Right.
So it's like I hit you with a fake one, I hit you with a real one, I hit you with the and it's like I don't understand why people would discount wrestling for being a physical sport because it will fuck you up. It ends careers, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's like as far as like the lifespan of the athletes. Is shorter than football. Like it's harder on your body than football.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And I mean, like, you take a bump off like the corner of the apron or something like that. I mean, there was a study done in football when they were doing all the CTE scans and stuff like that, and they were saying that like getting hit by a linebacker in NFL football is like getting hit by a car going about 35 miles an hour.
Right.
Which, think about that. Like, think about getting hit by a car every Sunday.
Right, yeah, fuck that.
Like multiple times a day.
Oh yeah, no, those guys are animals.
Yeah, and then you have wrestling where it's like you're gonna get hit by a 35-mile-an-hour car, also that car is gonna kick you in the face.
Yeah.
Like, it's just such a fucking deal.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man, like, the point was the movie The Wrestler is surprisingly accurate as far as like the lifespan of somebody that's been doing that for a while. As far as like the commitment it takes on the indie circuit to put yourself through that for like $14 a night sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, I don't know, man. You think about like, same with a metalhead though. Like, we get up on stage for what?
I was actually gonna say that. I was like watching it. Like I said, I had seen it before, but it's been a couple of, probably like 4 years, and I rewatched it. And I'm watching it, and even though it's specific to wrestling, I'm like, God damn, a lot of that applies to being in a metal band. Because it's the aspect of you're sore, you're tired, you're going to get up, but you're still going to do your best thing, and maybe you're playing to a mostly empty venue on that night. not every night. Some nights you have great nights, but
but sometimes you're playing at fucking Civic Center for 8 people.
Yeah,
sometimes you just are,
and that's just the way it is. And you still got to get up, and you still got to fucking hump your gear up there, hump your gear off.
Sitting there like, okay, Diesel Beast is maybe, and I'm gonna be real about this, we're maybe the least brutal metal band on the entire scene.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you guys aren't, brutal. It's a relative term. You guys aren't brutal because that's not your game, but you guys are heavy. Yeah. And
but I mean, you see the way that like I fucking headbang.
Well, yeah, and that's it. Body. Like brutal has nothing to do with how intense the performance is. I have seen fucking boring brutal bands.
Oh yeah.
And
I will say that Diesel Beast is not boring.
Yeah, and I've seen bands. And not just yours, but other bands that aren't brutal, but they bring it. Yeah. And that, to me, is at the end of the day all that matters.
It's like, man, and you know this because you've been doing this shit for too long, but I mean, like, you fucking headbang with your entire body for like 5 years in a row. You feel that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it hurts.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's a physical performance. And that's why it's like, it's like, the guys backstage at the wrestling match, and they're like warming up and taping their knees and working out all the soreness, and like you said, like talking about, man, don't move, don't mess with my shoulder, it's out of socket, work my left side.
I've totally done that. I'm like, dude, do not hit my right arm. My fucking rotator cuff is fucked right now. Like, fucking just deal with it.
But it's just like in a strangely parallel way. It's like there's a lot of fucking similarities to being in a metal band.
To being in a metal band, I would say that there are 3 other comparable job or vocations rather. First off, being a stand-up comedian.
Right.
Being a stand-up comedian is brutal because it is literally just your personality.
Right.
You have no guitar to hide behind. It's just your personality.
All eyes on you, go.
Yeah.
It's like
so, like, from a promotional aspect, if you're not good, you're fucked.
Oh yeah.
And then from like if you're in a metal band or something, like it's really more physical, and professional wrestling kind of like toes that line right in the middle, where it's like I have to be a really good personality, and I also have to be able to pull off the physicality of this. Yeah. And so like it's there's this weird like trifecta between stand-up comedy, metal, and wrestling, where it's like you will fuck yourself up if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh yeah. I mean, and even if you do know what you're doing, there's just some nights you're gonna eat shit.
Yeah.
Straight it's just like you can be really, really, really good, and sometimes shit just conspires against you. You have an off night, or you break a string, or the monitors are shit, or whatever. It could be.
Or some skinhead decides to fucking throw his drink at you.
Yeah. Or some drunk asshole tries to fuck with you while you're on stage, or
like spear.
Like
for that.
Yeah, anything like that, where it's like it's a little bit harder for me. I have weaponry on stage, but still, it happens.
It does. I don't know, it's like, first off, any live performance, and this goes across the board, whether you're doing pop music or whatever the fuck you're doing, if you're doing live performance, like, that's a whole separate beast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You gotta be good at it.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to, like, kind of take what it throws at you, otherwise you're gonna flounder.
Yeah.
Anyway, Warlords, I love you much. I have to go moderate a drag show.
Yes.
We'll post videos of that later.
Yes.
But
we'll get exclusive behind the scene content. Get his premium Snapchat.
We will. If you get my premium Snapchat, you will definitely see my butthole.
Yeah.
But we would like to thank you for coming out this week. And then I know shit's been kind of weird lately, but I'm about to move back to Denton, and I think things are going to kind of even out a little bit.
Right on.
So we will Warlord more effectively and efficiently in the future, I believe.
Well, honestly, it's been a terrific year for the show. And
we'd like to shout out to Harry Rock Radio for that.
Yes, and shout out to Harry Rock Radio and everybody that actually listens to this thing. We greatly appreciate it.
We do.
We did this Roundup last year, and we kind of started in the middle of the year, so we've been doing this like a year and a half, which is crazy to think about.
You really think it is? Like, most podcasts die after like 6 episodes. We're on episode like 40 something.
I think like 40. I think this is 40.
Oh shit! You're welcome, bitches.
Right? Yeah, you pulled a Randall. So
I did.
Right. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So we'll end with that.
Thanks.
But anyway, thank you guys, and we got more shit coming up in 2020.
We do, and things will be more streamlined, and we'll figure it out. But as always, fuck Mark Vickers.
There it is. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts as Warlord Radio Podcast. Without you guys, we could not do this, and I could not hang out with my best buddy.
But mostly thank Bark for giving us a reason to do this show.
Yeah, fuck you. You fucking rotten piece of shit. I hope you die in Rosie O'Donnell's asshole, you fuck. Thanks for listening to Warlord Radio. We are Craig and Carrek, and we are lovely.
wasteland of fear. A voice from inside chills his blood. You're about here to carry out orders. There's no place in your conscience for love. With these two hands at Black Wolf's command, executing every evil plan, destroying the believers of the land. He does not know. He may not care. His time moves slow. Smoke in the air. No pleasure he gains from the thrill of the hunt. Dead face despondent and numb. His presence alone seems to cut through the wind and waves in the water grow calm. Some know his name by the deeds that he's done. Some know the legend by heart. The women, the children, the young and the old, he can't tell his victims apart. He does not know. He may not care. His time moves slow. Smoke in the air.
noise. You're on clouds.